What's up, guys? It's Josh, Kilo 8 Whiskey Oscar Oscar. That's K8. Woo! Woo! That's right, Amateur Hour coming at you once again. And today, I'm here to talk to you about this little guy, the BTech UV Pro. It's my newest radio, and I can't wait to tell you what I think about it. So basically the goal here is I'm gonna kind of talk about why did I buy this radio? What do I think about this radio so far? I haven't done all the fun things you can do with it, and talk about the first time I used this out in the field. And I definitely put this thing through its paces. So let's get to it. First things first, why did I want the UV Pro? I have plenty of other radios. I have a UV, I think this is a 7R. UV 5R, UV 5R 8 watt. I got this cheapo. I've got the Yaesu FT-5, and actually I think that's it for my HTs. But why did I want this one? Well, number one, it's rugged and durable. I've seen plenty of videos online, especially from people like Josh at Ham Radio Crash Course, where he took this thing, dunked it in a glass of water, and was still talking to it. You know, I do a lot of outdoor activities. I'm a photographer by trade. So especially riding around the racetracks, doing photos and things like that. You know, whether, rain comes, mud, I won't say snow, sleet, and hail, but, I did get into some snow, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I wanted something that's rugged and durable, water resistant, and cheap-ish, right? So cheap-ish is kind of the thing. I think they're running around $160-ish. I can't remember how much I bought it for, but it's still under the $200 range, which is really awesome. Sorry, I'm shaking my desk because I'm getting excited, and so the camera's shaking. And anyways, it's cheap-ish. So I wanted a radio that was more capable than your regular Baofeng or Bufang. Shout out to Rubicon Productions. I wanted something that was more durable, something that was more durable and had more bells and whistles than the regular Baofeng. How do you say it? Drop a comment. How do you say it? Bufang. Something a little more capable, right? I also like the idea of the app control and being able to program the radio through an app. My FT5 Yaesu, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I have yet to even get the programming software to work for that radio. So you're talking around a $500, I think it's like $460, $70 maybe, I don't know, whatever it's at right now. But if I'm buying a radio that's about $500 from one of the flagship radio brands out there in the world, I want their freaking app, their program, I want it to work. And I don't want to go out and get RT systems. I don't want to pay another 40 or 50 bucks, however much they charge, just to have something that works. I don't understand. And I consider myself a pretty tech savvy guy, and I think I know what I'm doing when I'm messing around with computers, but I don't know. I ran through forum posts. I ran through YouTube videos. I used AI. I hate AI. Well, AI is all right, but I went through basically all of the trial and error that I could possibly do. I can't remember what the Yaesu program's called, but I get it installed on my computer. I tried it both on my desktop as well as my laptop, and when I open the program, it like crashes. It doesn't even tell you it crashes. It just doesn't open. So if you're watching this and you had a similar situation trying to get Yaesu's programming software to work, and you know how to make it work, drop a comment, let me know. Could be user error. I don't think it is, but any help would be greatly appreciated. Also, I love the fact that the APRS, it has a built-in Bluetooth TNC. I don't know all of the terminology, what that means, I don't know. I'm new to this, but being able to run APRS on this radio and be able to write the messages on my phone, be able to see the map, all that stuff, that's freaking awesome for a radio that costs this much. The Yaesu, when I saw the spec sheet and I saw it had Bluetooth, for whatever reason, again, I was a noob, I still am a noob, I was super disappointed to learn I can't do APRS on my phone with the Yaesu without other stuff. And that's, I don't know, it's annoying for a radio around the $500 range that it doesn't even have that. So the fact that a freaking, you know, Chinese radio brand is doing it for way cheaper, like, hey, bravo on these guys. Also, USB-C charging, this little guy right here. That's another gripe that I have with the Yaesu. The included charger is very slow. The battery life on that radio, which I think I'll do a comparison video at some point, but the battery life sucks on the Yaesu. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It is awful. And it takes even longer to charge it. But I have yet to take this radio all the way down to 0, but it charges pretty fast with the USB-C. And it's really cool that I can use my power bricks that I already have and be able to charge this on the go. So if I'm out and about, I can just throw the USB-C in there and I can keep on going, which is amazing. The other thing about the Yaesu is if it's completely dead and you plug it in and you try to use it, it doesn't work. I don't know if this does that or not, but I'm sure I'll test it at some point. So first impressions, I'm gonna kind of make a comment on some of the things about why did I want it and what were my first impressions of kind of using it for the first time. So I've owned this radio for about two weeks or so. And so far I use it every day. I have it with me every day. I do a lot of driving for work, so I keep it with me. Even though it's interior in a vehicle, you know, I just keep it running just to see what I can hear out there. I don't really ever call out or make any contacts. And then you'll see soon where I went with this radio. So first impression, I think it delivers on durability. I mean, this thing is built like a tank. I feel like I can toss it around. I obviously wouldn't want to toss it around on concrete or anything like that. But it feels really durable. I can also speak to the waterproofness, which I'll talk about as well. It's a solid build. Some people say it's heavy. I don't have, I mean, the UV7 or UV5R 8 watt that I have with the extended battery, I mean, the BTech or the UV Pro is about, I don't know, it's a little bit more heavier, but I mean, it's a chonkier radio, right? It's not too heavy. Some people say it's too heavy. I don't think it is. If you think an HT is too heavy, I don't know what to tell you. The belt clip, I think it sticks out a little too far. I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it sticks out a little bit further, at least from this. The Yaesu feels a little bit closer to the radio. The only reason I gripe about that is I'm a big dude. So like actually putting it on your belt and it gets the antenna super close to your body. And it's like really annoying when you're like moving around. So I'm more of a pocket clip kind of guy. And I don't know, I feel like it hangs off, you know, like this. That is like the smallest gripe you could possibly have. The tan color, I don't know what it looks like in the light here. It's kind of dark. My lighting's dark in here. It was lighter than I expected. Is that a gripe? No, I don't know. I just didn't want another black radio. I wish, I know the VGC version of this has more fun colors. I was gonna go with the VGC, but I'm a procrastinator and I decided I wanted this radio and the VGC wasn't gonna arrive on time. So I was gonna get like maybe orange or red or I don't know. But the BTech version of this radio, I'm pretty sure only comes in tan and black. So I could be wrong, but I went with the tan because I don't know, I just didn't want another black radio. The battery life is amazing. I have used it over multiple days, mostly listening and I haven't had to charge it. And I also have had the scanning going as well. And again, you know, passively listening, it's not going to take as much power, but the same thing, I do the same thing with the Yaesu, and the battery is so freaking drained by the end of the day. So the battery life, like, top notch. I probably should do an actual test and be like, here's how long it actually lasted. But we'll get there. We'll get there. The included rubber duck, do I have it on this table? I don't think I do. The rubber duck that comes with this radio is compared. So I think rubber ducks get a little too much hate, right? I think the one that comes with the Yaesu works just fine. I think it's a great antenna, honestly. Some people out there are like, no, you're wrong. I think rubber ducks get a bad name. Don't get me wrong, there are way better antennas out there. But from what I experienced on the day-to-day driving around, that antenna is pretty awful. So I would upgrade it pretty quickly. I do have a ZBM2 Industries antenna, which we'll talk about later, that I got with this. And I got the tan to match the tan, but their tan, anyone who's into like guns and stuff, you know, if like you have like an FDE or like a tan color, like no company makes the same dang tan color. Greens you can normally get pretty close, but I don't know. I think it's kind of a vibe. Anyways, we'll talk about this antenna at another date. The app's pretty easy to use. I downloaded it to my phone, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Both the BTech and the VGC apps, I think, are interchangeable. You can watch some videos and see which one works for you. I believe I'm using the BTech version of it. It's very, very simple to program your banks. That is kind of a gripe a lot of people have. It's 30 channels, and I think it's 6 banks. 30 channels, 6 banks. Let me confirm here. I don't even think I have all the banks in here. I have, yeah, 6 banks. So it's 30 channels per bank, 6 banks. And I don't know, that's enough for me. I wish that there were more channels in the banks, because what I'm currently doing is I kind of have an Ohio bank. I'm gonna have a Kentucky bank, and like I don't go to Indiana that much, but I might have an Indiana / other bank in there, and there are a ton of repeaters around me, and so 30. I want to say 30 in a bank is not enough, but I think the total number of channels, I can't do math, you figure it out. I think it's plenty. The Yaesu does more. I don't know, do you really need to program that many channels in your radio? I know some people might. Anyways, whatever. But the app's easy to use. I will preface this. I don't know what I did, but when I was programming the radio, at some point after I got into the second bank, I don't know what I did. I pressed something. I backed out without saving. I don't know. I ruined all of the work that I did. It deleted everything. So I guess the app is easy to use for the most part, but at the end of the day, maybe I wasn't used to it. It was probably a user error, but just be careful. Try to conserve and save your progress as you go. That only happened once. And like I said, I have 5 banks that are programmed currently. I have my local ones, and then I also made one for the trip that I'm going to talk about here in a second. The scanning is awesome. The one thing that I don't like, and the Yaesu did this before a firmware update, it doesn't show the radio going through the channels, but there's a little kind of like lightning bolt thing that pops up that kind of shows you that it's scanning. And it's cool because like you can leave that on, and when you turn the radio on, it's just always scanning. So I leave my scanning on the B channel, and I keep 5.2 on the top channel. And that's just really cool because I just leave it on. So I turn my radio on, boom, it's scanning. And because of the little, I don't know, lightning bolt, Harry Potter, Voldemort, whatever symbol, I don't know. And yeah, the scanning's pretty awesome. So where do these first impressions come from? So I obviously mentioned that I take it with me to work every day. I have it with me every day. You know, nothing special, but we go to this event, my friends and I. It's normally the first weekend every February. We went last year for the first time. We went this year. We're never going to miss it. It's called Snowdrift. It's up in the Atlanta, Michigan area, pretty far north Michigan, and it's part of the American Rally Association, and it's a huge rally event. And there was Travis Pastrana was there. Leah Block. Some big names, but also like this is a huge grassroots event as well, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so me and my friends are out there all day Friday, well not all day, Friday evening and then all day Saturday. And we're out in cold weather all day. We're bundled up. I don't think it got above 10 degrees Fahrenheit the entire weekend that we were outside, and it dropped down even lower at night. We did have fires going, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're freezing our butts off. I will say the battery life was definitely affected, but I'll show a picture over here or here, whatever makes sense. I would tuck it in my jacket so it was up against my body, and I think that really helped the battery life. But if I happened to leave it clipped on my chair or sitting somewhere, I definitely, every time I picked up the radio, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it went down, you know, 3%, because honestly, it could go for 2 days probably. Maybe not constant, but I definitely noticed it. But what radio would not have the same effect in 10-degree weather? Like batteries just, you know, they don't like the cold, right? Also, snow, duh. Talking about the durability here, right? I dropped it a few times in the snow, never stopped working. The first time I dropped it, I don't know, this is PG. I was taking a leak in the woods, and I'm talking the snow went past my ankle, not quite to my knees, but it definitely went kind of halfway up my leg. That's how far out I was walking, because, you know, there's people around, you know, common courtesy, right? And the radio fell out of my jacket into the snow, like into the snow to the point that you couldn't see it. All I saw was the hole that it fell into. I'm actually lucky that I noticed I dropped it. You know, pulled it out, dusted the snow off, looked at it. It was fine. I mean, there was even snow inside the USB-C port. It charged the next day. It kept on trucking. Dropped it here and there throughout the event. Never stopped working. Never seemed to get waterlogged or anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty freaking durable. Now, I didn't drop it on like hard ground or like a rock or something like that, but I don't know. I'll keep using it. Maybe we'll do a follow-up at some point. The buttons. I mean, I have giant hands regardless. I'm a big dude. The buttons with gloves, and this isn't even a gripe. I'm just letting you know. The buttons, even the arrow buttons, kind of hard to use with gloves. You gotta de-glove to use the radio. But the volume knob, it's a chonker, right? Easy to manipulate with the gloves. I had the radio the whole time on the main channel as well as their secondary channel. There was really no need for me to switch back and forth. So I honestly locked the radio to where it was. And if I was chatting with somebody and the radio kept going off, I could easily turn the volume down and back up. Again, when are you going to be using this radio with gloves? Maybe you live in Florida. Maybe you live in South America. I don't know. You might never be in the snow with it. So I don't know. I'm just giving you my experience, right? The first field test, right? It is loud and it is easy to hear, especially up against my body, right? With the mic pointing to me. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, if I was really trying to listen to it, I would kind of pull it out so I could hear it, but this puppy does get pretty loud. It's definitely not quiet. Final thoughts on this radio. I try to make this quick. Sometimes I feel like I drone on. I don't want to drone on here. It's a great purchase. I have no buyer's regret whatsoever. I think the only buyer's regret that I had is that I didn't buy it sooner so I could get the VGC version, so I could get a fun color. But at the end of the day, whatever, it's a freaking color. Heck, I could paint it if I wanted to. But I will say the other thing that I read or watched on YouTube is the BTech version has the NOAA weather radio in here, which is awesome. And you can set it to go off as an alert, whereas the VGC doesn't. It has, you can tune in to the NOAA radio, but it doesn't have the same functionality. Again, if you wanna watch, I'll put a couple links in the show notes. Show notes? What are we doing, a podcast? I'll put some links in the comments or the description of people who kind of went over this radio that know more than I do, and they kind of can do a comparison and contrast. I don't want this video to be that. This is just my opinion, right? I can't wait to dive into more features. I haven't used the APRS stuff yet, so I'll probably be doing a video on that. How does the APRS work on your phone? And how does the battery life change if you're running GPS and stuff like that, right? So I said the battery life kicks ass, but at the same time, I'm just using it as a radio. I'm not doing APRS or anything like that. And honestly, I think I'm gonna like it more than my FT5. That's almost a fact. The only reason at this point I'm keeping my FT5 is because, well, actually, I don't know, right? So Fusion, right? System Fusion. The closest repeater to my house used to have Fusion, and it was awesome. And I could log into different rooms and chat with people. But the Fusion part of it has been down. I don't know if it got damaged or something like that. The local club just hasn't got it back up and running. And there are other Fusion repeaters around here, but at the same time, like the one I always used hasn't worked in probably over a year. So that's the only reason I'm keeping my FT5. I might actually sell it. The longer I use this radio, I might sell the FT5. I don't know. We'll see. But those are kind of my thoughts on the radio. If you have any specific questions that weren't answered either in my video or watching another video, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you own this radio, drop a comment. Let me know, like, what is your favorite thing that like surprised you? What's something that I should look into that I might have missed, right? Because I'm really excited about this radio. But I want to thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, please drop a comment, questions, comments, whatever. My birthday was the other day. Tell me happy birthday. I don't know. What's your favorite color? Would you do that was cool recently? Anyways, follow me on social media at Hamateur_hour. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'll catch you guys later, and peace.